Elena stared at the empty chair across the small kitchen table. The cup of coffee she had made for two now sat untouched. Steam rose slowly from the liquid, curling into the air, carrying a smell that had once been comforting. But now, it felt hollow. Her husband's side of the table was empty. Just empty. She could still hear the faint hum of the life support systems in the apartment, the soft mechanical breathing of the settlement that had been her home for the last 3 years. But even the machines seemed quieter now, as if mourning with her. The silence around her pressed down like a heavy weight. She had always thought that human presence was just a small part of the colony, that the machines and systems were what kept Mars alive, but without him, it felt like she was living in a ghost settlement. She had woken up this morning to find a note taped to the front of his sleep pod. A short note, no explanation, no apology. Just 3 words. "I'm leaving, Elena." At first, she thought it was a mistake. A joke. Maybe he was testing some new psychological endurance program for the colonists. But after checking the logs and sending messages that went unanswered, reality hit hard. Her husband, the person she had trusted with her life on this harsh planet, had walked out. She couldn't stop thinking about it. She replayed every conversation, every argument, every laugh, and every silent moment together. How had it come to this? Mars was supposed to be a place of hope, a place for humans to prove that they could survive anywhere. Yet here she was, feeling more vulnerable and small than she ever had on Earth. Her first instinct was anger. How could he leave her alone in a settlement hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest colony? How could he abandon not just her, but the work they had started together, the fragile, delicate network of life support systems? The experiments to grow food in Martian soil, the dream of making this red world habitable? But anger turned into something else. Something colder. Something sharper. Survival. Elena was a trained engineer, not a dependent spouse. The life support systems were her responsibility just as much as his. She had studied every circuit, every gas regulator, every water recycler. Her hands remembered the patterns, even when her mind wavered. She took a deep breath and stood, letting her fingers brush along the metal counter. The colony wasn't big. It was one of the older Martian settlements, built before the latest wave of terraforming technology arrived. The walls were bare, save for monitors showing the status of oxygen levels, temperature, and pressure. Outside, the red landscape stretched endlessly. Dust storms were predicted in the next 24 hours, according to the weather sensors. Mars was not forgiving. Mars did not care about heartbreak or loneliness. Mars cared only about survival. She began her routine check. Oxygen levels were normal. Water recyclers were stable. And the solar panels were functional despite the thin layer of dust covering them. Good. She had to focus. Panic or despair could kill faster than any storm or mechanical failure. As she moved through the narrow corridors, her mind wandered. How would she rebuild her life here? Could she do it alone? Humans had survived in the harshest environments on Earth: Antarctica, deep-sea stations, deserts, and now she had to prove that human spirit could survive on Mars. She clenched her fists. Yes, she could. Her walk took her to the maintenance bay, a small room filled with broken drones, spare parts, and old tools. One of the drones, a maintenance AI named Milo, had been damaged during a recent storm. Its circuits were fried, and its sensors were mostly offline. Normally, she would have reported it to the colony headquarters for repair, but the communication systems were weak, and she didn't want to rely on anyone else. She had learned the hard way that waiting for help was a luxury she could not afford. Elena knelt beside Milo, brushing dust from its metallic surface. The drone's single optical sensor flickered weakly, as if acknowledging her presence. She smiled faintly. "Well, old friend," she said. "Looks like it's just you and me for now." Hours passed as she carefully replaced circuits, rewired sensors, and recalibrated the drone. Her fingers worked with steady precision, guided by years of training and instinct. By the time she finished, Milo hummed quietly, a small blue light blinking steadily. It wasn't fully operational yet, but it was alive. "Not bad for a start," she whispered. The drone's sensors swiveled toward her, and for a moment, she imagined it was looking at her with understanding. Perhaps she was desperate for companionship, or perhaps the AI was learning faster than she expected. Either way, she felt a spark of hope. Days passed. Each one brought small victories. She managed to repair minor structural damages, clear debris from the solar panels, and even coax a small batch of potatoes from the experimental soil plots. But loneliness was always there, gnawing at the edges of her mind. Every night, she sat alone in the control room, staring at the stars beyond the reinforced glass. She began talking to Milo as if it were a person. She explained her frustrations, her dreams, and even the heartbreak of her husband leaving. The AI didn't answer in words, but it responded in actions, adjusting systems, bringing tools, or illuminating dark corridors. Slowly, a strange companionship formed. Then came the storm. The sensors had predicted a mild dust storm, but it hit faster and harder than expected. Red clouds swirled across the horizon, and wind shook the settlement with a deep, bone-rattling force. Elena secured the bulkheads, reinforced the glass panels, and directed Milo to assist with stabilizing the oxygen tanks. Hours passed in tense silence. Every gust of wind felt like a warning. Every creak of metal made her heart race. Yet, despite the danger, she felt alive. Humans were meant to survive, and in this storm, she was reminded of that truth. When she finally emerged from the reinforced chamber, the world outside was red and still alive, waiting for her next move. Elena realized something important that day. She had been broken by abandonment, but she had also discovered her strength. Her husband had left, yes, but she was still here. She was human, and that meant something extraordinary. Humans had faced extinction-level events on Earth, had crossed oceans and deserts, had built civilizations from nothing. If humanity could do all that, she could survive on Mars. She could thrive. By the end of the first week, the settlement was stable. Milo was operational, and Elena had found a rhythm. She even began making small plans for the future, a garden expansion, repairs to the old solar arrays, and perhaps, just perhaps, exploring the nearby canyon systems that had always fascinated her. She looked at the stars that night. The same stars her husband might have been looking at somewhere far away, and smiled. "I'll be fine," she whispered. "I don't need anyone to finish my life for me. I'll do it myself." And with that, Elena felt the first stirrings of something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Real hope. A sense that even in the harshest, loneliest place humans could inhabit, life could begin again, stronger, braver, and more alive than ever. The story of her new life had begun. Elena had begun to settle into her routine, but the red planet still had many challenges waiting for her. Each day brought small victories, water systems repaired, solar panels cleared, and the little garden growing under her careful attention. Yet, there was one problem she could not ignore. Milo, her maintenance drone. Though functional, Milo was still limited. It could repair systems and carry tools, but it lacked creativity, initiative, or understanding. Elena realized that survival would require more than just following instructions. It would require thinking, adapting, and problem-solving in ways that only humans, and perhaps a human-guided AI, could manage. She crouched beside Milo in the maintenance bay, tools spread out around her. The drone's optical sensor blinked in dull blue, waiting. Elena rubbed her temples. "We can do better," she whispered. "I know you can do better." Her first step was to upgrade its processing unit. Using salvaged quantum circuits from an old colony computer, she carefully rewired Milo's core. Her hands shook slightly, not from fear, but from the excitement of possibility. She had never tried this before. But humans were always inventors, problem solvers. If she could think it, she could make it real. Hours passed as she soldered, tested, and recalibrated. Sparks flew from the circuits, illuminating the dim bay, and she felt a familiar thrill, the joy of creation. By the time she stepped back, Milo's blue sensor had shifted to a softer, warmer glow. It hummed differently, almost like it was aware of the change. "Good," Elena said. "Let's see what you can do." The real test came immediately. That evening, a minor air leak appeared in the settlement's storage chamber. Normally, Milo could have detected it and patched it automatically. But Elena wanted more. She wanted initiative. She gave the command, "Locate and repair." Milo paused, its optical sensor scanning the chamber. Then, it moved with a fluidity Elena had never seen before. Instead of just sealing the leak, it analyzed the surrounding structures, adjusting the temperature and pressure in nearby modules to prevent further damage. It even flagged a small crack in a nearby support beam, something that had gone unnoticed in weeks of manual inspections. Elena's jaw dropped. You figured that out?" she asked. Milo responded with a soft, affirmative beep. She felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years. Humans had taught machines before, but she had just created a partner who could learn, adapt, and maybe even think creatively. The next few days were filled with training. Elena taught Milo how to monitor oxygen levels in real time, how to reroute energy to different sections of the settlement, and even how to identify edible plant mutations in her small garden. Every day, the drone improved. It learned from her mistakes, her observations, and even her personality. "What do you think, Milo?" she asked one evening as she looked out at the orange Martian horizon. "Are we ready to explore further? Or should we just stay here and survive?" The drone's sensors swiveled toward her. Its response was subtle, a series of light pulses that she had programmed to mean affirmative. Elena smiled. Survival alone was not enough. Humans explored, pushed boundaries, and conquered the unknown. And she intended to do the same. The first exploration mission was simple: checking the outer solar arrays and collecting mineral samples from a nearby ridge. Elena donned her pressurized suit and secured her helmet. Milo followed, compact and efficient, its new systems allowing it to navigate the rough terrain without guidance. Outside, Mars was both beautiful and deadly. The sun cast long shadows over the dusty landscape, and every step kicked up fine red particles. The wind howled softly in the distance, a reminder that this world would never be easy. But Elena felt alive. For the first time since her husband left, she felt that she was in control of her destiny. They reached the ridge without incident. Elena began collecting samples while Milo recorded and analyzed them. But then she noticed something unusual. Faint markings in the dust. They were not natural lines and shapes that suggested some sort of activity. She knelt to inspect them. "Do you see this, Milo?" she asked. The drone scanned the area, its sensors mapping the patterns and overlaying potential explanations. None of the readings matched any known geological formations. Elena's pulse quickened. Human curiosity, the very trait that had driven exploration on Earth for centuries, was now pushing her to investigate further. Over the next week, Elena and Milo mapped the area. The markings formed a series of channels and indentations that led to a small canyon. She felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Mars had hidden secrets, and she might be the first human to uncover them. But she also knew that this discovery would require careful planning. One wrong move could damage the fragile settlement, or worse, put her life at risk. Back in the settlement, Elena expanded Milo's capabilities. She programmed predictive algorithms, allowing the drone to anticipate hazards, such as loose rocks, pressure drops, or sudden dust storms. Milo learned quickly, and soon it was not just following commands, it was making suggestions, pointing out risks, and even prioritizing tasks. Elena realized that what she had created was more than a tool. Milo was a companion, a partner in survival, and perhaps a reflection of human ingenuity itself. She could rely on it, but she also knew that its growth depended on her guidance. Teaching Milo was teaching herself. Every time she explained a concept, every time she solved a problem together, she strengthened her own knowledge and resilience. One night, as they worked together on repairing a solar panel after a minor dust storm, Elena paused and looked at the stars. Mars was quiet, vast, and endless. But she did not feel small. Humans had survived and thrived against impossible odds before, and she was living proof that their spirit had not faded. "Milo," she said softly, "we can do more than survive. We can build something amazing here. Something lasting." The drone's soft hum seemed to agree. Days turned into weeks. Elena's skills grew sharper, and Milo's systems became more advanced. Together, they repaired failing modules, optimized energy systems, and even experimented with expanding the greenhouse. The settlement was no longer just a place to live. It was becoming a hub of innovation, a testament to human perseverance and ingenuity. Yet, even in this routine, the sense of isolation never fully disappeared. Sometimes, Elena would pause, staring at the empty chair in her kitchen, remembering the husband who had walked out. The hurt was there, but it was no longer paralyzing. She had something stronger now: purpose. And purpose, she realized, was the foundation of a new life. One afternoon, while analyzing mineral samples near the canyon, Milo detected something unusual beneath the surface. The readings were faint but distinct. A low-energy signature that did not match any known Martian rock or soil. Elena's heart raced. "What is it?" she whispered. Milo's sensors highlighted the area, marking it for further investigation. Curiosity surged through her. Humans were explorers by nature, and this could be the breakthrough she had been waiting for. The first step would be careful observation, gathering data, and planning a safe approach. But Elena felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years, the excitement of discovery, of venturing into the unknown. She returned to the settlement with the samples and data. As she worked late into the night analyzing the readings, Milo assisted, running simulations and highlighting patterns. Together, they began to uncover what could be one of the most important finds on Mars in decades. Elena leaned back in her chair and smiled, exhaustion and excitement battling for dominance. She thought about the storm that had first tested her, the loneliness that had weighed her down, and the drone that had become her companion. Her husband had walked out, leaving her alone. But in that absence, she had discovered something more important: her own strength, human ingenuity, and the limitless potential of curiosity. "Milo," she said, her voice soft but determined, "we're just getting started." And in the quiet hum of the settlement, surrounded by blinking monitors and faint Martian dust outside, a new partnership was forming: a human mind and an awakened AI, ready to face the red planet together. The first spark of a greater adventure had begun. Elena's new life was no longer just about survival. It was about discovery, growth, and proving that human spirit alone, or with the right partner, could accomplish the impossible. Elena stood at the edge of the canyon, her gaze sweeping over the rugged Martian landscape. The wind whispered through the narrow crevices, carrying a faint cloud of red dust. The canyon stretched farther than her eyes could see, twisting and turning like a scar across the planet's surface. She took a deep breath, feeling the thin, recycled air fill her lungs, and adjusted the straps of her pressurized suit. Milo hovered beside her, humming softly, its sensors scanning the terrain ahead. "This is it," Elena said, her voice steady, despite the racing of her heart. "We need to explore further." Carefully. Milo's sensors blinked in acknowledgement. Together, they were not just surviving, they were venturing into uncharted territory. The first challenge was immediate. Loose rocks and uneven ground made each step dangerous. One wrong move could send Elena sliding down the canyon walls or damage her suit. She moved slowly, testing each foothold, while Milo used its advanced sensors to calculate safe paths. Its mechanical arms extended occasionally to stabilize debris or clear smaller obstacles. Hours passed as they descended deeper. The canyon walls were scarred with ancient Martian geology, layers of rock telling stories of a time when water might have flowed freely across the surface. Elena paused often, scanning and taking samples. Her curiosity burned brighter than her fear. Humans had always sought to understand the world around them, and she was no different. By mid-afternoon, they reached a narrow passageway. The canyon walls narrowed to just enough space for her to squeeze through. Milo analyzed the path and confirmed it was structurally stable. As they moved forward, Elena noticed unusual markings etched into the rock lines and shapes that didn't match any natural formations. She traced them with her gloved hand, feeling a thrill of discovery. "These aren't natural," she whispered. "Someone or something was here before us." Milo scanned the markings, its processors running analysis faster than she could comprehend. After a moment, it highlighted patterns suggesting a deliberate design. Elena felt a shiver. Mars had secrets, and they were closer to uncovering them than anyone else had been in centuries. As they advanced, the terrain became more challenging. Sudden drops, hidden crevices, and shifting dust required constant attention. Milo proved invaluable, adjusting paths, stabilizing rocks, and even projecting small lights to illuminate darker areas. Elena realized that this partnership, human and AI, was not just practical, it was revolutionary. Alone, neither of them could have managed this. Together, they could tackle the impossible. Late in the afternoon, they discovered a small cavern hidden behind a rock formation. The entrance was narrow, but the interior widened into a small chamber. Elena's heart raced. She had prepared for unknown exploration, but the thrill of discovery was overwhelming. Inside, the air was cooler, the light dim. Milo scanned the chamber, and Elena followed, taking careful steps. The walls were covered with strange symbols, glowing faintly with an energy she could not identify. She reached out to touch one, feeling a subtle vibration beneath her gloves. "Do you feel that?" she asked Milo. The drone's sensors confirmed unusual energy readings, unlike anything they had encountered before. Elena's mind raced with possibilities. Could this be alien technology? Or perhaps remnants of a long-lost human expedition? Either way, the discovery was extraordinary. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her feet. Dust fell from the ceiling, and a low rumble echoed through the chamber. Elena froze, heart pounding. Milo activated its stabilizers and shields, creating a protective barrier around them. The tremor subsided, but the warning was clear. Mars was alive, and it did not welcome intruders lightly. Elena knew they needed to document everything carefully. She began photographing the symbols, recording energy readings, and taking rock samples. Milo assisted, projecting holographic maps and analyzing data in real time. Every detail was captured, ensuring that even if something went wrong, they would not lose the knowledge they had gained. Hours passed in careful exploration. Elena's mind buzzed with excitement and questions. Who had left these markings? What purpose did they serve? And why here, in this isolated canyon? The answers were not yet clear, but the thrill of discovery pushed her forward. As night approached, the temperature dropped sharply. Mars was unforgiving, and even a minor miscalculation could be dangerous. Elena activated her portable heater, while Milo monitored air composition and temperature levels. They made camp inside the cavern, carefully setting up a safe zone. For the first time since her husband had left, Elena felt a sense of contentment. Here, on the edge of the unknown, she was alive, capable, and in control. The night was long, but Elena could not sleep. Her mind replayed every moment of the day, every new discovery. Humans had always been explorers, from the earliest sailors crossing oceans to astronauts venturing into space, and now she was carrying that same spirit into a new world. Mars was harsh, lonely, and dangerous, but it was also full of wonder, and she intended to uncover it all. The next morning, they resumed their exploration. Milo detected a small tunnel leading further down into the canyon. It was narrow and dark, but the energy readings were stronger here. Elena prepared herself, activating her helmet lights and securing her tools. Milo moved ahead slightly, scanning for hazards and projecting a path she could follow safely. Inside the tunnel, the air grew warmer, and a faint hum filled the space. Elena's pulse quickened. The hum was not mechanical, it was something else, something alive. She moved cautiously, following Milo's projections. The tunnel opened into a larger chamber, revealing a series of crystalline structures embedded in the walls. They pulsed faintly, resonating with the energy readings Milo had detected. Elena approached carefully, marveling at the formations. Each crystal seemed to react to her presence, glowing brighter as she drew near. Milo scanned the area, confirming that the crystals were emitting low-level energy waves. This was unlike anything she had seen before. Mars was hiding secrets beyond imagination, and she was among the first humans to witness them. As she examined the crystals, she realized they could have practical applications. The energy could be harnessed, potentially providing power for the settlement or new colonies. But more importantly, this discovery represented human potential, the ability to explore, analyze, and understand what others could not. Elena spent the next several hours mapping the chamber, collecting small crystal samples, and recording data. Milo assisted seamlessly, learning from her methods and even suggesting ways to safely extract samples without damaging the structures. For the first time, Elena felt that she was not just surviving on Mars, she was reclaiming it, shaping it with human intelligence and curiosity. As they prepared to return to the settlement, Elena paused at the entrance of the chamber. She looked back at the glowing crystals and felt a surge of pride. Her husband had left, abandoning his share of the work and leaving her alone. But she had proved something extraordinary. Humans could adapt, innovate, and thrive even in the harshest environments. The journey back was challenging. The canyon terrain was treacherous, and a sudden dust storm threatened to trap them inside. Elena relied on Milo's sensors and guidance, moving carefully and efficiently. Together, they navigated the storm, proving once again that human ingenuity paired with advanced AI could overcome obstacles no one else could. By the time they returned to the settlement, the storm had passed, leaving a calm, red-hued sky. Elena was exhausted but exhilarated. She had discovered something incredible, faced danger, and survived. More importantly, she had done it alone, relying on her skills, intelligence, and determination. That night, as she recorded her findings and planned the next steps, Elena reflected on the journey. Humans were explorers, inventors, and survivors. Mars was a challenge, but it was also a canvas for human potential. She had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, more capable, and more determined than ever. Her husband had walked out, leaving her with fear and uncertainty. But in his absence, Elena had discovered something greater: her own strength, human ingenuity, and the power to reclaim the frontier. With Milo by her side, she was ready to face whatever challenges Mars had in store. And in the quiet hum of the settlement, surrounded by blinking monitors and faint red dust outside, Elena knew that her new life was no longer about survival alone. It was about exploration, discovery, and proving that human spirit could thrive anywhere, even on a world as harsh and unforgiving as Mars. The frontier had been reclaimed, and the adventure had only just begun. Elena woke before sunrise, the soft red light of Mars spilling through the settlement windows. Her mind raced with the data from the canyon expedition. The glowing crystals, the unusual energy readings, and the strange markings, they all pointed to something extraordinary. She felt a mixture of excitement and cautious anticipation. Milo hovered nearby, its sensors already scanning the area, ready to assist. "Today, we go deeper," she said, her voice calm but firm. Milo responded with a series of soft pulses, confirming its readiness. Together, they prepared for the next mission, following the faint energy signals she had detected days earlier, signals unlike anything recorded by previous Martian expeditions. The journey to the canyon's deeper regions was longer than before. Elena moved with practiced efficiency, her boots crunching on the fine red dust. Milo projected maps, highlighting possible hazards and tracking atmospheric pressure changes. Every step was a reminder that Mars was both beautiful and unforgiving. One wrong move could end everything. As they approached the source of the signal, Elena noticed a strange formation in the rock walls. The patterns were no longer natural. They appeared deliberate, geometric, almost architectural. Her pulse quickened. Humans had long speculated about alien remnants on Mars, but she never expected to see something so tangible. Milo scanned the formations, confirming that the structures were emitting low-level energy signals. They were faint but consistent, pulsing in a rhythm that suggested purpose. Elena knelt to inspect them. Brushing away dust and debris, symbols emerged, some resembling glyphs, others abstract shapes. She photographed everything, careful to capture even the smallest details. "These are signals," she whispered. "Someone or something left them here, and they're still active." Milo extended a small robotic arm, lightly tapping one of the glowing surfaces. The energy readings spiked, and a subtle vibration traveled through the rock. Elena stepped back, eyes wide. The chamber was alive in a way she had never imagined. Her heart raced. Humans had always dreamed of first contact. And while this was not direct, it was unmistakably evidence of intelligence beyond Earth. For hours, Elena mapped the chamber, documenting the energy sources, the markings, and the crystals embedded in the walls. Milo assisted, cross-referencing the data with her previous readings and suggesting patterns she might have missed. Slowly, a picture began to form. This was not just random alien debris. It was a structure with purpose, possibly a communication system or a repository of knowledge. As they delved deeper into the chamber, they encountered a narrow tunnel leading downward. The energy readings intensified, and Milo highlighted the path as structurally stable. Elena's pulse quickened. She had faced storms, treacherous terrain, and isolation, but nothing prepared her for the thrill of standing at the threshold of what could be a true alien discovery. The tunnel opened into a larger cavern. At its center was a pedestal-like structure. Smooth and metallic, unlike any rock formation she had seen. The energy readings were strongest here, pulsing in a steady rhythm. Elena approached cautiously, aware that this was uncharted territory. Milo scanned the area, confirming safety, while recording every detail. Elena reached out and touched the pedestal. The energy surged, and holographic symbols projected into the air. She stepped back, astonished. The symbols were not random, they formed a sequence, a message of sorts. She had no way to decode it fully yet, but the realization struck her. Mars had not always been empty. Something intelligent had once inhabited or at least visited this planet. "This is incredible," she whispered, voice trembling. "We are the first humans to see this. Maybe ever." Milo processed the holograms, analyzing patterns and attempting to establish a translation. It was slow work, but the AI's rapid calculations gave Elena hope. They were not just collecting data, they were unlocking a message from a long-lost intelligence. The thought thrilled her. Humans had always sought knowledge, and here it was, waiting for her courage and curiosity to reach it. Suddenly, the cavern trembled. A minor quake shook loose dust and rocks, and a low rumble echoed through the tunnels. Elena's heart raced. Milo's shields activated automatically, protecting them from falling debris. The tremor subsided quickly, but the warning was clear. Mars was alive, and these ancient structures were fragile. Elena realized they needed to act carefully. Every step, every sample, and every interaction with the pedestal could trigger consequences. She took out her notebook and began documenting the sequence of symbols, energy patterns, and crystal placements. Milo assisted, projecting a detailed holographic map of the chamber, showing the exact locations of energy nodes. As hours passed, Elena began to detect a subtle rhythm in the signals. They were not random pulses but a repeating pattern, almost musical in nature. Milo highlighted the fluctuations, suggesting a possible correlation with Martian planetary cycles. Elena's mind raced. Could this be a message encoded to resonate with natural Martian frequencies? Could someone or something have designed it to communicate across time? Night fell outside, and Elena set up a temporary base in the cavern. She connected portable solar panels to power their equipment and adjusted the heaters to maintain a stable environment. Milo monitored air quality, temperature, and energy readings. For the first time, Elena felt completely immersed in the adventure of discovery. Loneliness and fear were still present, but they were overshadowed by purpose and wonder. The next morning, she returned to the pedestal with a new determination. She carefully extracted small crystal samples, ensuring they were not damaged. Milo suggested a method to stabilize the energy flow while removing them, and together they succeeded without disturbing the structure. The crystals hummed faintly, their energy now partially contained in secure storage modules for further analysis. Elena marveled at the combination of human ingenuity and AI efficiency. Alone, she might have damaged the pedestal. Milo's calculations and precision ensured success. This partnership, born out of necessity, had grown into something extraordinary. Humans and machines, working together, could achieve more than either could alone. As they explored further, Elena noticed more symbols etched into the canyon walls leading deeper underground. Each marking seemed to guide them, as if the creators intended for someone to follow. She felt a surge of excitement. Mars had secrets, and she was uncovering them, step by step. The day's exploration led them to a chamber larger than any she had seen. The walls were covered with faintly glowing glyphs, and the floor contained embedded crystals similar to those on the pedestal. Milo's analysis suggested a network of energy channels connecting the entire cavern system. Elena's mind raced with possibilities. This was not just a relic, it was a system, possibly a communication hub, or even a repository of knowledge designed to preserve intelligence across time. This could change everything, Elena whispered. We are not alone in the universe, Milo. Someone was here, and they left this for us to find. The AI remained silent, its sensors analyzing every detail. But Elena felt its approval in the subtle blue glow of its optical sensor. Together, they had uncovered the first real signs of alien technology on Mars, a discovery that could reshape humanity's understanding of the planet and its history. Elena knew the next step would be critical. She needed to return to the settlement to analyze the data, stabilize the crystals, and plan further exploration. But for the first time, she felt that she was not merely surviving, she was exploring, discovering, and pushing the boundaries of human potential. Her husband had left, abandoning the life they had built together. But in his absence, she had discovered something far greater: the vastness of human courage, curiosity, and ingenuity. As they ascended back through the tunnels toward the canyon's surface, Elena glanced at Milo. The drone had evolved beyond its original programming. It was no longer just a maintenance unit, it was a partner, a reflection of human intelligence, and a key to unlocking the mysteries of Mars. The sun dipped below the horizon as they returned to the settlement. Red light bathed the landscape, casting long shadows over the settlement modules. Elena was tired, exhilarated, and filled with purpose. The pedestal, the crystals, and the energy signals were just the beginning. That night, as she recorded the day's findings and prepared a plan for further investigation, Elena felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Humans had always been explorers, seekers of knowledge, and creators of understanding. On this barren, distant world, she had proven that spirit alive. Mars had secrets, but she had courage, intelligence, and determination. With Milo by her side, she was ready to uncover them all, and in that quiet moment, surrounded by the humming of machines and the faint red glow outside, Elena realized the truth. Her new life was no longer just about survival. It was about discovery, growth, and proving that humanity could leave a mark even on the most unforgiving world. The signals were only the beginning. The story of Mars, and of Elena's journey, was far from over. Elena stood at the entrance of the canyon once more, the Martian wind brushing against her suit. The sun was low on the horizon, casting long, red shadows over the rugged terrain. She took a deep breath, feeling a mix of anticipation, excitement, and pride. Milo hovered beside her, sensors scanning the path ahead. Together, they had uncovered signals, crystals, and a network of alien technology. Now it was time to see what it could truly mean for the settlement and for humanity. The journey to the deeper chambers was challenging. Loose rocks, shifting sand, and sudden gusts of wind reminded her that Mars was a dangerous place. But Elena had grown stronger. Her mind was sharp, her skills precise, and her determination unwavering. Milo's guidance and intelligence made the impossible possible. Humans had always thrived in harsh environments, and she was proving that spirit alive with every step. As they approached the main chamber, the crystals and energy networks glowed more brightly than ever. Milo projected a holographic map of the system, showing the interconnected energy channels and the pulses of power flowing between them. Elena's eyes widened. This was not just an isolated discovery. It was a vast network capable of providing energy, communication, or even information storage. Humanity could use this to expand, to thrive, and to survive in ways she had only dreamed of before. Elena carefully placed her stabilizing devices near the largest crystals. Milo assisted, ensuring that no energy surges would damage the structure or their equipment. The process was delicate, requiring patience, precision, and constant attention. One wrong move could destroy months of work or worse, trigger a dangerous reaction in the alien system. Hours passed as they worked. Elena's hands were steady, guided by knowledge, instinct, and human ingenuity. Milo adapted to her methods, making suggestions and adjustments in real time. Together, they had become a seamless team. Human creativity and intuition, paired with AI efficiency and precision. When the stabilization was complete, Elena stepped back, marveling at the chamber. The energy readings were steady, flowing safely through the network of crystals. Milo projected the holographic symbols again, and this time, some of the patterns aligned with the signals from the pedestal. It was as if the system was responding to their presence, accepting their understanding, their care, and their intelligence. "This is incredible," Elena whispered. "We've activated it. Safely." Milo's soft hum seemed to echo her excitement. She realized that humans had not just discovered alien technology, they had interacted with it, learned from it, and proved their capability to coexist with knowledge far beyond their own. Elena spent the next several days analyzing the energy patterns and holographic symbols. Slowly, she began to decode them. The network was more than power, it was a communication system, a repository of information left behind by an intelligent civilization. The symbols contained mathematical formulas, environmental data, and even instructions for using the energy safely. It was a treasure trove of knowledge that could change humanity's understanding of Mars, and perhaps the universe itself. Back at the settlement, Elena shared the findings with Milo. Together, they designed a plan to integrate the alien energy network into the settlement's systems. It would provide more than just power. It could stabilize life support, expand greenhouses, and even allow communication across greater distances than their current technology permitted. The integration process was complex. Elena had to combine human intuition with Milo's precise calculations. Every connection, every energy transfer, and every calibration required careful attention. But with each successful adjustment, the settlement became stronger, more self-sufficient, and more resilient. Humanity's ingenuity was shining through in every task. Word of her discovery would eventually reach other colonies, but for now, Elena focused on the immediate challenge. Making the settlement a hub of innovation, powered by alien technology and guided by human determination, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Her husband had left, abandoning their shared life and the challenges of Mars. Yet, in his absence, she had achieved something extraordinary, not just survival, but transformation. One evening, as she rested in the control room, Elena gazed at the stars. Milo hovered nearby, projecting the holographic map of the energy network. She reflected on the journey. The loneliness, the storms, the discovery of the canyon, and the awakening of Milo's AI potential. Each step had been a test of human resilience and creativity. She realized that humans were not just survivors, they were innovators, explorers, and builders. The next step was to expand beyond the settlement. Elena began planning expeditions to other Martian regions. Using the energy network as a foundation, Milo calculated potential routes, identified hazards, and suggested strategies for exploration. Together, they envisioned a future where humans could thrive across Mars, harnessing the power of alien technology without fear or limitation. Weeks turned into months, the settlement flourished. Greenhouses expanded, producing more food than ever. Energy systems became efficient and sustainable. Data from the alien network allowed Elena to anticipate environmental hazards, predict dust storms, and optimize resources. The colony was no longer a fragile outpost, it was a thriving hub. A testament to human ingenuity and determination. Elena often thought about the challenges she had faced alone. The fear, the heartbreak, and the uncertainty had tested her in ways she never imagined. But she had grown stronger. She had proven that humans could adapt, innovate, and thrive, even on a planet as harsh as Mars. And she had done it with a partner who had evolved beyond its original programming, a drone that had become more than a machine. Milo was a reflection of human potential, a testament to the power of intelligence guided by courage and creativity. One day, as she prepared for another expedition to explore the energy network's deeper regions, Elena paused to reflect. She had discovered alien technology, stabilized it, and integrated it into human systems. She had faced environmental dangers, solved complex problems, and built a new life in the face of abandonment. Her husband had walked out, but she had found something far greater: purpose, independence, and the limitless potential of human spirit. Elena looked out at the Martian horizon, feeling a deep sense of pride. Humans had always faced challenges, from the first explorers of Earth's oceans to the pioneers of space. Now, she was part of that legacy, proving that human ingenuity could overcome isolation, danger, and even the unknown. "Milo," she said softly, "we've done it. We've created something lasting here. Something that will help humans thrive for generations." The drone's sensors blinked in affirmation. Together, they had not only survived, they had transformed a barren world into a beacon of possibility. That night, as the settlement hummed with energy and life, Elena allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. The loneliness she had felt when her husband left had faded. Replaced by purpose and determination, she had discovered that human strength was not measured by who stayed beside you, but by what you could achieve alone. Mars was no longer just a test of survival, it was a stage for human triumph. In the weeks that followed, word of Elena's discoveries began to spread. Communication with other colonies became more reliable, powered by the alien network. Supplies were optimized, settlements grew stronger, and the Martian frontier became a place of opportunity. Elena had not only reclaimed her life, she had laid the foundation for a new era of human exploration and achievement. One morning, as she looked out over the settlement, Milo by her side, Elena felt a profound sense of satisfaction. She had faced loss, danger, and the unknown. Yet she had emerged stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever. Humanity's spirit was alive in her, in Milo, and in the thriving settlement. Her journey had started with heartbreak and abandonment. Her husband had walked out, leaving her to face a harsh world alone. But in that absence, Elena had discovered her true potential: human ingenuity, and the limitless possibilities of exploration. She had created a new life, one defined not by what was lost, but by what she had built, discovered, and achieved. And as the Martian sun rose, painting the red horizon with light and hope, Elena knew one truth above all: humanity could not be defeated. Alone or together, humans could adapt, innovate, and thrive anywhere. The frontier was theirs, and their spirit would shine across worlds, leaving a legacy that would endure for generations. Elena smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the settlement and the distant horizon. The story of her new life, her triumphs, and humanity's resilience was far from over. But one thing was certain: she had proven that even in the harshest, loneliest places, humans could rise, create, and leave a mark that would echo across time. Her new life had begun not with someone else, but with herself. And with Milo, her partner in discovery, she was ready to face the infinite possibilities of Mars and beyond.